Bienvenue sur ce podcast de rugby. Je suis Husey et voici mon co-animateur Luke.
So what did you say?
I said, welcome to that rugby podcast, and I'm Husey. This is my co-host Luke.
Oh, look at you.
Of course. Moi, français, the international language of rugby.
Yeah, well, fuck the French. It's been a disastrous weekend for me, I must say, my friend. And
sometimes you just gotta stop and smell the garlic, you know. Beautiful.
It's been a disastrous weekend, and now I have to sit here and listen to you speak in French and smell garlic.
No, I'm just doing that for the start, mate. I just did it to... I'm not going to subject you to that the whole podcast, no, because more importantly than the French winning, the fucking Wallabies got up. First win in 2023, baby. Let's go. World Cup, here we come. I know it's been possibly the worst possible week for you because of your predictions as well. Just
a disaster.
Events that you foretold have not come to pass.
Not a single one.
You're the shittest Nostradamus there ever was. And look, I mean, I was not much better with. Well, no, I was. I think I was pretty good, except for my sort of wild prediction of Chile beating Japan. Although they didn't do too badly for their first ever World Cup game, Chile. But I think across the board, there are a few people in the rugby world that sort of, there were all these storylines swirling around, and I think some chickens came home to roost, and everyone sort of hit a bit of a reality check coming into the first week of the group stages.
Yeah, you're not wrong, but you're not right. Like, this is what the issue is. Like, it's a reality check that doesn't feel like reality because, like, we look at the English and the Welsh, and you just sit there and you go, like, really, like, the teams that they were playing against, I'm probably more disappointed, and we'll touch base on them as I rock my new Fijian jersey. But yeah, look, it couldn't have been a worse week for my predictions. It couldn't have been a worse week for my All Blacks. But we'll touch base more on the All Blacks and the Wallabies game a bit after. But let's go through the round and those other games. So Italy beat Namibia. Italy, and this is my fear, I guess, a little bit now, like, that first game was so important, in my opinion, not because whoever won it became top of the pool. I don't think that mattered. It just meant that game against Italy wasn't a risk, and I think you'd be stupid to count out Italy, even against the All Blacks or the French. So, they looked good against Namibia. I know they kind of came home strong, but they did enough to have me... I wouldn't say shaking. I'm not shaking in my boots, but I'm worried. I'm definitely worried.
Yeah. Potential for a trap game for sure.
Totally. And then obviously our World Cup would be over. Ireland then smoked Romania. But again, at halftime, and I don't know why. Well, I mean, Romania scored the first try, which was fantastic to see Ireland down early against Romania. But it was another one of those ones where, like, halftime, I think it was like 33-8, or they just may have scored to make it 40-8. And I was like, look, Romania are going to get beat, and they're going to get beat probably quite well. But I'm impressed by, like, another Minnow who's given it a shot, given it a best effort, scoring tries against the best team in the world. Ireland attack looked good. I will say that. Ireland's attack looked... Bundy Aki, like, when the Irish played the All Blacks, Bundy Aki wasn't, like, a non-factor, but he definitely wasn't a focal point of the attack. He looked a little bit slow. Fuck, he looked incredible in this game. And it's not, I don't think it was just bad defense. I think he looked fast. He looked strong. He's going to be a weapon.
He was one of my potential picks for when we did our World Cup fantasy draft. I ended up going with the other Irish centre, Gary Ringrose there, because I saw some other options open, and then Ringrose just fit what I wanted to do a bit better there. But yeah, Ireland looked scary. They look like the world number one that they are. And because we're leaving the New Zealand and Australia results to last, I actually want to leave England and Argentina for now and talk about it again. Japan beat Chile. Chile, though, like Romania, scored the first try in that game, and I think sort of put Japan on notice a bit. This is the one where I thought, look, we don't know much about Chile. They could come in here and they could catch Japan, who's on a bit of a downward dip of form, napping. But the Japanese, though, showing that they have sort of truly graduated into that sort of tier 2 pushing tier 1 of rugby. They're not going to get caught napping anytime soon. They're the kind of team that threaten for second place in a pool. Like, they're probably not going to win their pool, but they could take second place.
Totally.
South Africa versus Scotland, low scoring affair in this one. I actually haven't seen the highlights of South Africa versus Scotland. What can you tell me about this game, my friend?
Well, if a game could ever be summed up by a few words, it would be South African ball at its best.
Yeah. Looking at the scoreline, it looks like South Africa kicked 6 penalties and Scotland kicked 1.
No, well, South Africa did score 2 tries, but one try was a crossfield kick. I know what you meant, as in, like, theoretically,
mathematically, yeah.
And like, it looked like that could be the result with how South Africa play rugby. Manny Lebok probably set up one of the more outrageous tries. I'll give him credit where credit is due. It was like a no-looker crossfield kick, which was quite special. But other than that, it was South African rugby. Put pressure on you, defend better than you, convert opportunities into points, and they did that. And Scotland never really got going, which I'm disappointed with, because I felt like this was their World Cup game. The issue is, and the reason I say that is, I don't see Scotland beating Ireland. Whereas if Scotland had beat South Africa, I could still see South Africa beating Ireland. So it wasn't like, I didn't feel like this was the game where South Africa was like, we have to win this, because South Africa could beat anyone on their day. I felt like Scotland had to win this. Saying that, there's still a very good chance this pool, Scotland's not out of it yet. Ireland could lose to South Africa. Scotland could beat South Africa. South Africa didn't get a bonus point. So I think bonus points and point differential are going to be crucial in that pool. And with how South Africa like to swap their teams around in rotation, it's all still up for grabs, I think, that pool.
I think that's a good thing to touch on as bonus points, is that South Africa didn't get a bonus point there. France didn't get a bonus point in their win either. But also, additionally, New Zealand didn't get a bonus point, and neither did Scotland.
Totally.
And this is what I said in my predictions. I think Scotland may wind up doing something outrageous, like taking the game off Ireland, but I think they still miss out on the playoff stages because of this game, because they didn't get a bonus point in this game, and I think that will come back to haunt them.
Totally. And then let's just touch base quickly on probably the game of the tournament so far, Wales versus Fiji. I managed to see the last 30 minutes this morning. What a bloody game to start off with. That's what rugby's all about, I must say. Now, there's still going to be some controversy. There was a lot of yellow cards from a lot of penalties from the Welsh on their own line, which probably deserved more yellow cards. Fiji ran for over 1,000 metres, which is unheard of. Wales made over 250 tackles and attempted like 280 tackles.
God.
I will say a couple of things. I think Fiji were very unlucky, but you make your own luck. And when you run for over 1,000 metres, you should score more than probably 26 points, and you should definitely not concede 32 points when you've made another team tackle that much. So that's the first thing. I think if that game happens in the hot, blaring sun of an afternoon, I think Fiji absolutely run all over Wales. I think Fiji is still very likely in this pool. I would not want to be Australia coming up against them. Purely, again, I think you've got lucky with the draw a little bit, because whoever Wales come up against next, they are going to be shattered. 250 tackles in that heat against a hard-running Fijian side.
Well, they're lucky they come up against Portugal next. They get a bit of a break there. If they come up against Georgia, come up against Georgia there, the way Georgia played, and I'm going to get into greater detail with that game, because I did watch it all. I didn't watch it all live. I got up early in the morning though and watched it before I went and played touch footy, and was certainly inspired by some of my Wallabies players. A few chip and chases through, a few Suliasi, Vunivalu, Mark Nawangani Tawase, up for the ball, down for the score kind of thing. Just casual. It is what it is. I think Wales have been very lucky in this draw, and they're going to. I have a sinking feeling that this game is going to give them second place in the pool, and Fiji's going to miss out.
Well, yeah, it's Fiji obviously have to beat you or have Wales lose to Georgia now. The big thing was Fiji picked up 2 bonus points.
Yes,
So
that's huge for them.
that's they're reliant now. It's not out of their own hands because they still definitely could beat you. It's not. I think Fiji are coming into that tier one, like you said with Japan, tier two definitely, and tier one nation. Yeah, they look really good. They've just got to score more points and can't concede 32. Was about all you can take away from it. So it's heartbreak for me because I think if they win that game, if the bounce of the ball pops up and Semi Radradra takes it and Tete Tilia kicks the conversion to win it, you just go, Fiji's got a real chance here to not make it, not even just make it out of the pool, but you'd back them against the Aussies they're coming up against too now. But yeah, that's going to be a fascinating fixture now that it's pretty much do or die for Fiji. How is Eddie Jones going to play it? A lot to ponder, I think, for that game. Yeah, let's move on to those English, shall we?
Yeah.
Interesting, a very interesting game. I think out of all the teams in the Rugby World Cup who will be most disappointed after the first game, Argentina will be the most disappointed for having an extra man for 77 minutes and not getting a win over England. They will be very disappointed.
Yeah.
What I saw from England, though, was, I think, really, really smart. Just incredibly smart. Like, let's take away from the fact that we haven't been playing that well, and let's just focus on one thing at a time, and that's the scoreboard and scoreboard pressure. And this is what a good England team is. This is the English ball. You know what I mean? You know, they have Bazball in cricket. This is the English ball in rugby, where they will just tick over points and say scoreboard pressure, scoreboard pressure, scoreboard pressure. We don't care if it comes in freeze like they did with George Ford. We don't care about drop goals or penalties. We will do it all, and we will just tick that over, and we'll get the win and get out of there. And I was so impressed because what I think, and it has probably been hard for Borthwick, is he probably looks at a style of play and goes, you know, like any coach, I want to play an attractive style of play. And I want to play attractive footy, and we want to win games. And it's probably come back to bite them a little bit because that's just not English. You know, they're not attractive. So what he's decided is, you know what? We just need points. All we need is points. If we can turn field position and territory into points, we will win games. Look, our pack hasn't been good enough the first, half of this year since he's taken over. Let's just go to our experienced first five and rack up points. And that's what they did. And I just think it was a genius solution to a problem that England were having. And I just go, you know, they've got to be, you know, praised for deciding to go down this route. It's not attractive rugby. It's not what you probably want from rugby. Like I sit there and I go, you could choose a game and you saw England versus Argentina, you've probably got more eyes than that than you have Wales and Fiji. But if you actually went back and wanted to watch an actually interesting game, watch Wales and Fiji. So, look, commend them for winning and commend them for playing England ball. It's not attractive, but it wins you games and can win you a Rugby World Cup, and that's what they're here to do.
100%. 100%. They needed a result, especially after all of the talking heads like yours truly in the aftermath of that Samoan game were looking and questioning England. We thought England was going to come second in this group. I mean, there's still plenty of time left, but look, they've woken up, I guess. And I feel like this is the case for a lot of teams here in this World Cup. They've reached the World Cup, and it's sort of switches are being flicked in the teams that typically perform well in the World Cup. They're in familiar territory. They know what they're doing. They know what they need to do to get to the next step, and they're doing what they need to do.